thing, but there's some things I may not notice, and please point those things out to me. Alright, well, we're back in game 2 of Dota Weebs versus Ugly Fam International. They're blazing through the draft after a bit of a mistake last time. And there's the first pick, Invoker, and it's not really that surprising. It's a very strong hero, and they take it away from Dota Weebs. And I think it's very smart of them to not let that go through, but Gyrocopter's still available, and Dota Weebs used that very effectively both this week and last, so we could it's pretty likely to see it again, I think, at some point in this draft if it's not banned out. And again, that was my Steam message. I apologize for anyone watching. Don't tab out. And there's Vengeful Spirit, who was also one of their first 2 picks last game, so another hero that they get to take back and utilized fairly well. There's still a lot of heroes left in the pool. We've got Gyrocopter, we've got Tusk, Dazzle, Shaker, Earth Spirit, Chen, Beastmaster, all very strong heroes, at least in the competitive scene, but perhaps not in the style of these 2 teams here. Alright, there's a Darkseer. This hero has a lot of potential to make really big plays, and it's pretty hard to zone out a lane a lot of the time. So a good pick, and it gives them good team fight and good lane, and at least one decent lane. Plus, if he surges up the Vengeful Spirit, she can very quickly get in range for a swap or a magic missile, and that could make a big difference.
10 seconds remaining.
So both teams, again, same as last game, very versatile first picks, and there's the Tusk, who was completely ignored last game, I believe, unless I missed him get banned out. But this hero is a very get-in-your-face kind of hero, and if he rotates effectively, then he can do a lot of damage to the enemy mid lane or safe lane. Witch Doctor taken out of the pool, a very popular hero in the 82L. His Death Ward, just well-positioned Death Ward, can win you the game, and those cast bounces might be too RNG for some teams to want to risk playing up against or even playing with.
10 seconds remaining.
So far, just from the first 2 picks, I think Fam are a little bit more aggressively minded. Dota Weebs do have the Venge, but the Darkseer takes a little bit of time before he can really comes online. And I mean, but with Voker Tusk, you Snowball Shards, Sunstrike, and that's a lot of damage really quickly on some heroes. So Gyrocopter taken out by Dota Weebs, and maybe they just don't want to play it and don't want to play against it this game. Fam banning out the Abaddon, and I actually really like this ban because Dota Weebs used Abaddon to great effectiveness last week when they played against DMB, Dirty Mike and the boys. They used it both games and crushed with it both times. That hero was extremely useful for them, and
10 seconds remaining.
Definitely a respect ban. Looks like Fam did some of their homework, so.
Reserve time.
The Vengeful Spirit and the Darkseer, good openers. Same with the Invoker and Tusk, and with Gyrocopter gone, Abaddon and Witch Doctor. So 2 supports and a carry taken out, and both teams looking for one more support, but the field is pretty narrow now. Although there's still Dazzle, Slardar also taken out. That hero, another goes great with Tusk, and actually pretty well with Invoker. If you get the Forge Spirits plus the amp damage on someone, they just dissolve. Like, you just might as well give up because you're gonna die very quickly until you get some pretty heavy armor items and a lot of health. So Dota Weebs banning out these aggressive heroes in the form of the Slardar, and even the Gyro is a very aggressive hero. Whereas Fam banning out supports, one somewhat aggressive and a good team fighter, and the other a very defensive-minded support in the Abaddon.
Reserve time.
Digging a little bit into the reserve time, but I wonder what they're thinking. Like, they've still got a pretty versatile lineup. They can go early, they can go late if they want. Like, feels like Ugly Fan with their draft are trying to shoot for a mid-range kind of game, end it in like the 30-35 minute mark, and Dota Weebs grabbing themselves a TA. This hero decent against Tusk. I mean, the refraction's decent against Tusk, but Invoker can chip away at it pretty quick with Forged Spirits, plus the Tornado might actually purge it off. And actually, yeah, I think Tornado purges it off. And then Cold Snap is also very good. And Deafening Blast disarms her, so I don't know. I think she might have kind of a rough time in mid. And Night Stalker, another really aggressive hero from Fam. And yeah, they definitely seem to be focusing on ending this game quickly and hitting Dota Weebs hard and fast. It's going to be an interesting... This game... But Dota Weebs do have some minus armor synergy with the Venge and the TA, and they're on Dire, so they could look to an early Roshan. They might even be trying to set up for like an Ursa pick, or some hero that's just really good at taking an early Rosh. But it's a little peculiar that they would ban the Slardar if they wanted an early Rosh. But they could still do it pretty quick if Venge goes a Medallion and then the Melt Strike plus the Wave of Terror, because last game they did max Wave of Terror and they get their Lich again, so
Radiant team pick.
another, I think, decent team fight potential with them so far, and also really good pick-off potential, but very lacking on the hard lockdown, and that could come into play. They've got the Vacuum as like a half-second stun, and Magic Missile, and then the mini stun on the first hit of Chain Frost, while Ugly Fam have all of Invoker's stuff, Tusk's Walrus Punch and Snowball, and Night Stalker's Silence and then mini stun, so lots more control on the side of Fam, and that could come into play. This TA could just get kited and locked down the whole game.
Reserve time.
And there's the Dazzle. This is not terribly surprising. It's a popular hero, and I think it's pretty good here, because if they want to go early, it'll give them sustain. So this is an offlane Night Stalker or an offlane Tusk. I think offlane Night Stalker is a little more reasonable now. They did nerf some of Night Stalker's kit, so it's kind of harder to play as a support, because you're a little more punished. I don't remember exactly what it was. The slow, the day duration was halved, so now support Night Stalker isn't as, or usage of Void isn't as strong, so you kind of rely on the first night, and you have to get levels before the first night, and a couple items, so just like Brown Boots and maybe an Orb, but would have been good. So it's probably an offlane Night Stalker and support Tusk and Dazzle. Pretty good duo. Animage taken out of the pool. Don't want to deal with... Yeah, they don't have any real way to deal with that Animage, so very good ban. Yeah, this Animage would probably walk all over them until they got like a Hex, but I guess the Darkseer gets it, but... So smart ban from then. OD taken out of the pool. I don't know if they needed to ban OD, because I think they're looking for a safe lane, unless the Venge is their carry and they pick another support here, but I feel like it's TA mid, Darkseer off lane, Venge, Lich. One of them will go with the Darkseer, and the other one is going to go with whatever hero they pick here. And I guess there's still Spectre if they wanted it, but I don't think it fits. They need something with controls, so I guess Naga or Dusa would be okay, but they're very greedy. Those are two extremely greedy cores. Slark's available. If you wanted something that comes online a little earlier, can make some space, get some pickoffs. Ember Spirit is still there too, which plays very similarly to an Animage actually. Or you can go the battle build, which has risen in popularity a little bit, like Treads, Battle Fury, Blink, Travels, Crit. Yeah, and there's the Slark, and I actually really like that. It comes online really early. It lacks control, but I think with the Dark Pact he can get out of a lot of with his Dark Pact he can get out of a lot of the control that Fam possess. So this is I like the pick. And Fam still looking for their carry. Ember Spirit I would really like. It synergizes with the Dazzle. It's slippery. Dota Weebs have basically no way to kill it if he uses defensive remnants. He can just split push forever. But then there's still Phantom Lancer, kind of similar, but I don't like it as much here. Plus Ember Cinder's like the Weave minus armor, he'll just hit so hard with his Battle Fury. Plus with Chains and Tusk and Flame Guard, it's a pretty good aggressive hero. Like they can get lots of kills early with it. Set the Chains for the Sunstrike. There's PA, which I don't actually like here. Too much magic damage. And she's bad against TA. Ember's really good against TA. So ideally, I think they would pick an Ember Spirit. It's extremely, extremely, extremely good here. Good against the Lich, but they go with the Tiny instead. So not a bad pick. I think it offers them even more control. Avalanche does several instances of damage, so it's even more usefulness against the TA. And if I had to choose a draft that I slightly favor, I think this one's a lot closer, but I think FAM, because they have more control, and a lot of Dota Weebs lineup looks like they want a team fight after they get a couple kills on the Slark. But yeah, this doesn't matter. It's an error, but yeah, I think I slightly favor FAM. So, anyways, I'm just going to introduce the teams really, really quick. You've got on the Lich, Shanoa. I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong. Major Dune on Darkseer. Salayan on Venge. Rombine Cube playing the TA. And Shiro playing Slark. Now, Bo Bryan is playing Tiny, who's the Spectre last game. Slam on the Tusk. Salacity on Invoker. Houston on the Night Stalker. And Big Papa playing Dazzle. This is almost definitely going to be a tri-lane. I think if they did like a Tiny Tusk Dazzle tri-lane, that could be really scary. And then as for Dota Weebs, they could probably try to do another tri-lane if they wanted. Darkseer probably doesn't need anyone with him. And the Slark could, like with Pounce plus Magic Missile plus Frost Blast, it's pretty large amount of damage, so we'll have to see what both of the teams decide to do in the end. And I know what I want to see, and this effigy is pretty cool, because it's ice. And now back to the stuff that matters. Looks like bot room's going to be the point of contention this time, and that was odd, but it's like Dota Weebs just positioning themselves to take this rune, and let's see if FAM go to the same place, or if they just head top and both teams just walk by each other. Major Doom being pinged out a lot. Looks like they're going into that jungle. Wonder if they scouted out any. Like they know the Tusk is there, or at least they may have seen him. He was on the very edge of that rune. So TA getting this one, and I wonder if they're giving Salacity this bounty. Yep, both mid heroes get the rune, and I wonder what this Slark is doing down here. Perhaps they're doing an aggro try where they just try to force out they just try to kill the offlaner, because the offlaner this game is Tiny. No. Oh, where they just try to fight up against the other enemy's safe lane, but this is bad. Slark's gonna miss the whole first wave of XP and gold, and no one on FAM there to get that. And looks like most of that XP is gonna be going to the Venge, and this means Night Stalker is gonna get a pretty quick level 2, and he's gonna be very happy about that. Mid lane's gonna be, I think, mostly even. Nope, wrong thing. Wrong thing. Fine, I'll click it. She's just getting right click down pretty hard by this Invoker. She needs to be a little careful, but she does have Refraction ready. but it's only level 1 and only absorbs 3 instances. Venge trading with this Night Stalker, but he has the Stout Shield and she doesn't, so she might have to Magic Missile. Yeah, that was not a worthy trade for this Venge. She's going to have to use a lot of regen, whereas Night Stalker won't have to use any. Something to keep in mind when you're playing a support trying to zone out the offlaner. If they have a Stout Shield and regen and 15, 16 higher base damage than you, you can't let them get close to you, because this will force your regen out, and they won't need to use any. And Night Stalker's regen is pretty high already. Looks like Darkseer's a little trapped, and this could be our first blood, and there it is, caught it just in time. Good job with this tri-lane, and yeah, that's a lot of control from them, and well played from the side of Fam. If they get this Tiny off to a good start, that could be very bad for Dota Weebs. This hero can kill pretty much everyone on their side in one combo if he gets a slight level advantage. And actually, Night Stalker getting down by the Slark, and both tri-lanes doing exactly what they were supposed to, finding the kills and setting their cores up for success. Mid lane TA is 3 last hits behind the Invoker and almost half a level. It's like a pull coming out at bot lane to be expected. Darkseer may try to put an Ion Shell on one of these creeps to farm it, so yeah. He's just going to try to farm up the stack, but looks like it's not going to work. TA just getting bullied like relentlessly by this Invoker, who's still very far ahead of her level-wise. I think it would be very beneficial to rotate the Lich in here, deny a creep or two, maybe get a value point in Frost Armor to put it on the TA so she can trade, but there's the Sunstrike missing, unfortunately, and Venge rotated in, and neither team able to find their kill, but this should help TA find what she needs, and getting her farm, getting those levels, and catching up a little bit in the last hit game, because she is 6 behind, now only 5 behind the Invoker. And the way this lane is going, I like a lot. They're leaving the Slark generally by himself. They know, okay, he probably can't die to Night Stalker, so we don't need to be here for him, and I wish the supports on the side of Fam were doing the same. Although it is a melee hero up against the Darkseer, and that's annoying to lane against, so perhaps they do need to have the presence, but just the Dazzle sitting in the back, and I really think he needs a point in Grave so he can do some TP rotations. Try to save his heroes if they get jumped. I have no idea what that catapult is doing. Tiny getting his treads. He's very ahead in the last hits. Getting everything he wants down here. And Dazzle trying to just smack this Tiny and zone him out. Hasted up Tusk. This could be trouble for the TA. And Lich and Slark getting Night Stalker again. And he died at the start of first night. That's terrible, and it looks like Invoker contributed a little bit, but did he do any damage? No, it doesn't look like it, but looks like they might try to get this TA, but the loss of your Night Stalker on first night is pretty significant, and it's huge, actually. He can't afford to lose that momentum. The first night and the first and second night are probably the most important nights, because this is when the skill points in Hunter of the Night just give so much stat value that you should be ahead of everyone. But dying like that means you might not be ahead of everyone, and that the hero just wants to find as many kills as he can, just cause chaos around the map, and make supports and even the enemy carry be afraid to come out. Cillian has rotated bot lane, trying to help out this Darkseer a little bit, it looks like. It's like Lich trying to farm up the stack, but Night Stalker's there to contest, but he should be careful. TA again forced to use her refraction. She does have boots, but is still very behind in farm against this Invoker, and I think this is a little bit to be expected. I think this is a very Invoker favored matchup. It's like Night Stalker's trying to find a kill here, but no one's really in position. Unfortunately, no vision. But, oh, so close. And the TA does ultimately go down. The Venge may have TP'd into her own death. She TP'd inside the Ice Shards, I believe. Very unfortunate. And now, Tiny's looking to go get this Darkseer, but it's too late. He doesn't avalanche. He doesn't avalanche in time, and double damage rune available for this Night Stalker, and this Lich could be next. Night Stalker's hitting very, very hard now, and if he finds the Lich, that Lich is in serious trouble. I don't know if he can get Slark. Slark is level 6. So he does have Shadow Dance available, and no mana now. I feel like he should have... No, it's okay. It doesn't matter. He's forced out the Shadow Dance early, but Slark is just going to regen everything back up thanks to the passive of Shadow Dance. And Darkseer did die. I apologize for missing that. Dazzle got him. Probably the tri-lane combo here. Yeah, because Tiny has no mana all of a sudden. So this Tusk is doing a lot of work with his rotations, finding a large number of kills for his team. Double damage is worn off, and night is over in just 1 minute, so Night Stalker is salvaging it a little bit, but still 2 deaths, and I don't think he's getting everything he wants out of his lane and out of the first night. Darkseer is doing okay. Both Darkseer and Night Stalker having a rough time. Sorry about that. Vengeful Spirit waiting in the back. They really want this Invoker, but I don't know if they can get him. Vengeful Spirit showed her face a little too soon, and now Invoker's going to walk off. And damn, this tri-lane just getting kill after kill. Snowball, Avalanche, even Poison Touch. Plus the heal bomb is actually pretty big. I gotta keep my eyes on bot lane because they are doing a lot of work down there. Once first night ends, this Night Stalker might be in a little bit of trouble. He's going for the Urn Rush, and it's unfortunate he didn't have it during the first night because I think that's when you really want it. But that's okay. He will have Darkness soon if he chooses to get that. If he chooses to hit level 6, but I have seen them sometimes just go for a Point and Void instead. And Tiny almost has drum. In fact, Tiny can have drums. He just needs to have it brought to him. That's very scary. He is doing extremely well this game and gonna cause a lot of problems for Dota Weebs. I actually want to see if they have a stack in here. There are not any stacks for their TA. There is no stack for TA to farm, and I think that's how they need to get back in this game, is TA just got nothing out of her lane. She's 33 last hits behind the Invoker, and then 41 last hits behind the Tiny. She is so far behind, and almost 2 full levels behind, and here they go on the Venge, and I don't think there's any getting out of this for you, Venge. But they do miss the Sunstrike, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe she does get away, but just right-click down by the Dazzle. Lich is rotated. He's level 5. Not quite 6, but TA might have the damage, but now Invoker's walking behind the tower to find the fight. We'll be able to get this kill, and he's hitting very hard, but Lich chose to stay around too long, I think, and good TP from the Invoker, getting that kill, and good play from him and his whole team just setting up kills, and honestly, this Tusk is MVP. He's setting up kill after kill after kill for his team, and just shutting down Darkseer completely. Tiny has all the space in the world. And this poor TA is just 14 CS at 9 minutes is unexcusable. They need to make stacks for her so that she can come back into this game, because as of right now, she will accomplish nothing for her team. They ping out Tiny. They know he's in the Roche pit, but they don't know what he's up to. Tiny just wants to grab this bounty rune. He's not actually trying for Roshan. And Invoker, very close, almost has a Yule Scepter, and I think he just needs the Sage's Mask now. Slark, on the other hand, is doing okay. He's doing very well. He has very high CS and is not terribly far off of his Shadow Blade, so he might be their saving grace, and they're going to need him to create tons of space for his team. And a little premature from the start. Oh, but will the Slark be able to get out? I don't think so. And this is probably pretty bad. I mean, it's good that it's good for this. I think that heavily favors Fam. I know gold-wise, it's like a slight favorance, but look at XP and think about which heroes died. It's like, okay, we lost our Night Stalker. He has his urn. He's going to get like treads and some other item and pretty much be done. But, oh, Venge, you're in trouble now. But she does stun up the Tiny, and he is slowed down, but he's got max toss, and it could be, oh, but he doesn't use it in time. Venge might actually make it out of here. Invoker finishing up INT'L's Scepter. Just, this Slark can't die. And I don't mean like, oh, he can't die. It's, he actually, if he dies, it will cost his team a lot. They need him to at least succeed. They need at least Slark to do really, really well so that they can get back into the game. They need him to like make the supports and even like the Invoker on the side of Fam afraid to rotate and just afraid to move around the map. Invoker shows up, a Deafening Blast comes out, Alacrity, but now Lich is here, and he has the Chain Frost, but does get yields up, and now going to be trapped in the... he blocked in the shards, and nothing's going to happen there. DD active on the TA, but unfortunately, I don't think anything's going to be able to come of that. But Slark is all alone now. Tusk finishing up his medallion. I actually really like that. Just very quickly melt the heroes on the side of Dota Weebs and allow them to take Roshan fairly quickly. Because as of right now, their Roshing is pretty slow. I guess with Forge Spirits plus the medallion, Forge Spirits medallion, and yeah, it's okay. And Sigil should be okay. They can rush pretty well. But this Invoker is just so far ahead of this TA, a whole 3 levels, and let's check hero level actually. Yeah, Invoker the highest level in the map, and this poor TA is just not getting anything done, and I think they really needed her to do well. And if she doesn't do well, Slark needs to have a near perfect game, and he's last hitting very well. But, and this looks like Dazzle could go down. He suddenly doesn't have enough mana for Grave, but maybe not. Invoker might just save the day. Chain Frost comes out, but will it be enough? And Wall of Replica too. Vengeful Spirit shows up. Do they even have the damage to bring him down? It looks like this is finally going to be the much needed kill on the Invoker. Is he going to be able to... Night Stalker shows up in return, but can Invoker get out of here alive? Oh, he Ghost Walks, and do they have detection? They don't. Oh, that's so unfortunate, and it looks like Invoker wants to actually go back in and try to get a kill. Tusk has arrived, and the shard's slightly off the mark, and Slark now has Shadow Blade, and TA has Blink, so maybe things will start to turn around a little bit for Dota Weebs. So Dota Weebs got pretty good out of that fight. I don't think they got any kills actually, but they did get a tower. Maybe they got Tusk because I think he TP'd in. Maybe that happened earlier. Slark is Shadow Blade up, but Night Stalker needs to be careful. There's no Sentry Vision on the side of... Oh, Slark jumps in, and Night Stalker just blown up immediately from a Meld Strike and a Pounce from that Slark. Just huge amounts of damage. They've got Tiny continuing his farm up top. He's got his Blink Dagger now, so he's having a great game. And next on the list will certainly be his Aghanim Scepter. It's like all 5 heroes from Dota Weebs are grouped up at bot lane, and Fam just decided, alright, we're going to let you have that. We're going to take objectives elsewhere. And I think that is definitely the correct play. I think they should just try to accelerate their lead. Be like, okay, you can have our T1. We'll pressure your mid and your top lane, and get our Tiny more levels, more farm. Once he hits level 11, his damage will be even higher. And I don't know if Dota Weebs will be able to rotate and defend both of these towers. They're going to at least lose one, if not both of their towers. And this Darkseer almost immediately blown up, but everyone's rotating in now. Perhaps they overstayed their welcome, but those TPs are really, really long. Unfortunately, not able to get that off, but they did dedicate the Chain Frost, and Dazzle upgrades himself and tries to start the TP. No Magic Missile, and it's just unfortunate. Good TP play from Big Papa, and just, I think, let's see, how much gold did they get? So, 800 gold, though, for just that Invoker. So a pretty significant gold swing. About almost 1,000 just for Invoker's death, so it's unfortunate he wasn't able to invoke Ghost Walk, but I think they had sentries available to put down, so it may not have mattered in the end. The Blink Dagger on the TA will allow her to get some kills, but she needs to be careful. I don't think she should try to go in on this Tiny. He could kill her very, very quickly.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
How much damage does Toss do with that? 50% extra damage, so 450 damage, plus the Avalanche. So yeah, TA dies? She died? Yeah, she dies if she gets comboed, and even Darkseer very close to death. Oh, fantastic Sunstrike snipe. But now they're under tower, but they are weaved up, so they're pretty damn tanky, but Slark's still melting these heroes. And great Meatball Deafening Blast combo. Slark forced to Shadow Dance. Tiny might be in a little over his head. They do have Grave available, and that's 2 quick kills for the Tiny thanks to a fantastic Grave play from the Dazzle, but unfortunately he does die to the tower shot. But it looks like it's going to be more. Yeah, Cold Snap comes out, and that one more stun might be it. But maybe, just maybe, he gets away. Invoker's very fast, though. Looks like Lich just barely able to skate away with his life. And the fight kind of close, but more XP on the side of Fam, and they're probably going to be able to take this tower as a result. So a slight favor for Fam, I think, because they only lost Tiny and Night Stalker, but TA and Slark died. So they lost 1 core to Dota Weebs losing 2, but it looks like they're not actually going to be able to get this tower. Invoker needs to be careful. He gets the tower, but he does have a Blink Dagger now, so able to get away. Now Night Stalker goes down, and the wall is out. But now Tiny's here, so that may have been a little bit of a misstep, and quickly punished by Fam. Tiny's still on the prowl. Unfortunately, he's not. I don't think he's. Well, he's very fast, but he's backing off. And
He's not on top of things.
it's like they just missed the Sunstrike, but thanks to the regeneration from Shadow Dance, Slark is going to be back in fighting condition right away. Run by Cube still pretty far off from any significant item progression, and if we take a look at net worth, he is so far behind. The Invoker has 3-ish K ahead, and Tiny also about 3K ahead, so this TA is not where she wants to be. She's sharing net worth slot with the Lich almost, but at least they know that Night Stalker's having a very hard game. But with Invoker and Tiny so ahead, it might not even matter. And Invoker's still very far ahead on the level chart. I think both teams need to start thinking about Roshan. Invoker may have got a little greedy, but I think he got a little ahead of himself. They have vision here even, so I don't think he should have been there. I think that was just a really big misplay from him. Just knowing he should have known with this ward and this ward that they had people here. Unfortunately, they're going to miss this and this. So I think Invoker just thinking, okay, I can burst really fast, but without any backup, I don't think so. This might be when Dota Weebs want to think about Roshan. Invoker's down, and they have their Wave of Terror and a Medallion and Meld Strike, so Roshan could die pretty quickly. Yeah, it's getting pinged out by Fam. They're worried that it's going to happen soon. Tiny barely missing his combo again. Oh, very close. Unfortunately, Tiny did not grab the Venge, but instead grabbed the creep next to her. Cube trying to make a play, but just not enough damage yet. He has no items, so, and not to mention Night Stalker has very high base armor. Tiny being chased down and might be in trouble. Good snowball, good Sunstrike, good toss, and it looks like they might just punish Dota Weebs trying to get this Tiny. Slark healing up very quickly. He might try to find someone. He's looking for Tiny, but can't find him in the end, so Darkseer punished for overextending, but Slark is able to get away. Both teams trading blows, but I think that's much more favorable to Fam, who, with the Tiny and Invoker, and even Dazzle and Tusk, just outscale Dota Weebs. Looks like they grouped up the smoke, and I do not believe they were scouted out. They have decent vision on the side of the on Dota Weeb's side of the map, and with darkness, wards can't see anything, so Dota Weebs must know something's up after darkness gets triggered. And TA quickly taken down, but oh, good refraction. Are they gonna be able to get her? Yes, she's gone, and they might look to try to take this tower, but Chain Frost swap back and wall already. They don't have Walrus Punch, but they may not need it. Tiny just does so much damage to these towers, and with the Alacrity, he's just just ripping it apart. He's a one-man wrecking crew.
Dire's middle tower is under fire. Dire's middle tower is lost.
Invoker going for a Shiva's Guard. I wonder if either team is going to try for a Roshan soon. It looks like Fam might be looking to do it, but it could cost them if they don't get it. They may not have the damage to do so, so everyone on Dota Weebs respawning in the T1 tower available for Dire to TP to, so this is definitely dangerous. Instead, they try to aim for the T1 at bot. Tiny only about 900 gold away from his Aghanim Scepter, so he's having a fantastic game.
Radiant's middle tower
Oops, I meant this one.
Dire's bottom tower is on its way further down.
A ton of pings coming out on the side of Dota Weebs, and even the Dazzle pinging out a few times. Dazzle low on mana, but does have Weave and a Mango. Rabbi Cube needs to be careful. Fam are just ready to jump, but it looks like Tiny's tired of waiting and just goes to farm the wave instead. He is not that far from the Ags, and once they get that, it's going to be very difficult for them to get very difficult for them to defend their towers, and he's going to be hitting even harder than he already was and pushing so fast thanks to the cleave. Just going to destroy these towers, and these heroes won't fare much better. Mechanism and Chain Frost, they're ready to fight, but there's only 3 here. Night Stalker running ahead, trying to squishing this Darkseer before he's able to get anything off, but a good Chain Frost doing huge amounts of damage, and it's going to kill off the Night Stalker, and that's the end of it. But Slark is here now, and Tiny's getting kind of low. Dazzle's going to go down soon, and this is already really bad for Fam. They got really aggressive on this tower, and good quick rotations from Dota Weebs, and it might just save them this game. There's no stuns, unfortunately, on the side of Dota Weebs to cancel this tiny TP, and he's able to get out. That tower is at 29 health, so very likely going to be denied, but Tiny finishing his Aghanim Scepter, and he's just ready. This means... yes, so he's going to do a lot of damage. The supports on the side of Dota Weebs are, and even this TA and Slark aren't much better off. Although Slark is not too far from Ascati, so he's also having a very good game. And I think a lot rests on this Slark to make sure that his team gets to late game, like gets back into this game. He's had a good game so far, but if he dies, it's going to be worth a lot of gold for Fam. This will scout out all of these, so if they do want to go for Roche, they might be able to. An Invisible Invoker, he looks like he might just go try to one-shot that tower. Yes, Invoker does go get the last hit on the tower, and a quick boost to gold for him, and now that this tower is gone, Roche will be a lot safer for Fam to make the attempt at. Dazzle pinging it out, but it could still be very dangerous. Dota Weebs pinging out that their traps are being destroyed in the pit. Major Dude sitting on the sidelines, ready to go. Invoker finally has a Forge Spirit summoned. Okay. They're grouping up in one of smoke and maybe try to catch out Dota Weebs coming up on their side of the map. And here they go. And is Slark going to be able to do this? But two heroes dying very quickly. The Chain Frost comes back out and they need to spread. And it does hit on the Evoker, but it finally ends. And Slark might be in trouble now. He's all alone. And on the other side of things, it looks like Venge is in trouble. But Slark able to get away. That's the big kill. If they can catch this Slark, he's in serious trouble. Blink Dagger cooling down soon, and Snowball on the TA, catching her and the Slark. Great Snowball, and they just melt. Oh, but they don't have any detection. Oh, really well played from the Slark, but unfortunate. Not nearly enough. I don't think they got enough out of that smoke. Oh, but Slark got a little greedy coming back in. Tiny misses Avalanche, and Slark goes down. He does have buyback. That was 500 gold, and now they could look towards Roshan, knowing that the Slark is down. The main source of damage of Dota Weebs is in the grave for 45 seconds, unless he wants to buy back. Tusk needs to back off. He has no mana. Looks like he's probably going for drums next, unless he wants that. Unless he just wants a value bracer. It's like the two teams just glancing at each other, and Dazzle might be in trouble. Ooh, but Invoker is just doing so much damage to these heroes. And will Dazzle actually be able to walk out of here alive? Tiny, though, did lose his life, and that's a huge kill. Think Fam maybe overstaying their welcome a little bit and spreading out too much, and unfortunately the Dazzle was too low on mana to be able to grave, and did actually grave himself in that last fight. Things are going to cool down for a moment, I think. Still a very close game, and see if Fam are going to be able to pull it together and close out this game. Invoker heading top, trying to farm up, looking for... I think this is a Shiva's Guard, and I think it's actually pretty good up against this TA and this... TA, the Venge, and the Slark even. Some more AoE damage for him to throw out as well. So the Invoker and Tiny both having very good games, and Slark too. These three heroes are probably the most important heroes on the map right now, but Tusk gave such a huge advantage to his team. He's played extremely well. He's 2-1 and 12 right now. He's been a part of all but a fraction of his team's kills. Slark, however, closing in on his Scotty. Only about 600 gold away, it looks like. Invoker trying to scout Roche with Sunstrike. That's definitely the right play here. And he's very, 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 very close, I think, to his Shiva's. I think 400 gold, unless it's the recipe is 8. Let me double check that. I want to make sure I'm not saying anything incorrect. Recipe is 6, so yes, Invoker's only about 300, 200 gold away from his Shiva's Guard. And Tiny is building, I'm not sure what next. I think he could benefit from BKB. Slark did just pick up Eye of Scotty, so that's a huge pickup for him. Slark's also level 15. He's caught up and is actually ahead XP-wise of this Invoker. Dazzle level 11. I really think it's a mistake not to max Grave over the Poison Touch. Unfortunately, it's really hard for them to go for this Roche. One Vac Wall could just end the game, but Darkseer does not have a Blink Dagger. And the heroes on Dota Weebs are all over the map. TA has a TP, Lich has a TP, Venge has a TP, so they can all go to defend the Roche, but it will take some time for them to get there. Looks like Tiny and Invoker waiting on the wings, trying to make sure that this... Uh-oh, but Slam's getting low, and they have to get out of there now. Slark has Shadowblade. Might want to run in there. They just don't have the damage to do the Roche. It's just too slow. A little preemptive, I think. Dazzle TPing out, but didn't even get to drop Weave. TP cancelled by the Chain Frost. And I think Fam just getting ahead of themselves. They didn't get any pickoffs before trying for that Roshan, and now I think it's just going to be a free Rosh for Dota Weebs. They have a lot of minus armor. They're tankier. They have more damage. I think Fam just thinking, all right, we can do it. We can out teamfight them, but without proper vision, you can't. And they just up against the TA, who you know is going to see you in the Rosh pit, and now she has her Desolator. Yeah, this is looking really grim now for Fam. I think they were in a really good position at first, but they have a really hard time dealing with the Slark and have been kind of throwing away these fights, it feels like. Just poor positioning, poor communication, and maybe a bit of poor planning. Tiny on his way to an Assault Cuirass, though. I think he could benefit a little bit more from a BKB. Just be even harder to bring down, couldn't be kited. Darkseer, very close to his mechanism. His next item looks like it's going to be a Guardian Greaves. And Night Stalker not actually all that far off from his Aghanim Scepter, and that could be pretty big. That'll be pretty big. They'll be able to do Rosh, jump the TA if she hangs out here, jump the Slark if he hangs out here. I think they just need to put Alacrity on this Tiny Weave so that he's tanky and just have him beat up Slark. So I think in a 1v1 the Slark will lose, but actually right now, or would, now I think the Slark is actually ahead of him and a lot. It's going to be very, very difficult to bring him down once, let alone twice. And Tiny does have level 16 now, so his ultimate, he's doing that much more damage. Night Stalker just trying to farm up that Ags. He really wants it, and I think they need to wait for it. They just don't have a vision advantage right now, and it's hard. It's really hard to get a vision advantage up against the TA. And Tiny also very close to his Assault Cuirass lane. He's about 1,300 gold, so I think wait for those two items before you really try to fight. And anything else coming up? Not particularly. Because 1,300 gold away from Ags on Night Stalker, and about 1,000 away from AC on Tiny, and I think you wait for that before you go for the next fight if you're Fam. Because right now, the Slark is just so hard for you to kill, but if you get that beef and the minus armor aura from the AC, it changes. And I think this Tusk should, instead of whatever he's going for next, go right into a Vlad's. It'll help the Tiny so much. And I think it's just a really good item for that. Like, it'll give him lifesteal, more the 20% damage on a Tiny when he does almost 300 damage is massive. It looks like they're looking to smoke up here, and, or are they? They are grouped. Smoke on the courier. Aegis reclaimed in 2 minutes, and looks like they really want to make something happen. Kind of risky fighting to the Slark Aegis, and you're on the verge of these really big items, but you don't quite have them yet. But I guess if they take a big fight, it could be... This Darkseer might be in trouble. Yep, they quickly blow up the Darkseer, and Venge too. Slark going on the Tiny, Exterior going to work. Dazzle graves himself up, and now Slark not really able to do that much. Chain Frost bouncing heavily on these two heroes, and it's doing so much damage, and that Chain Frost did so much work.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Now they're on the way, and Night Stalker going down next, but Tusk is back in the fight. They take out the TA. 20 seconds on Grave. Slark is Shadow Bladed. Good Frost Wall, Ice Wall. And now they lose the Tusk too, so there's still Aegis. They need to be careful. Slark's Shadow Blade will be cooling down before long, and this hero is just fast. He has Pounce ready, but misses. But the Scotty means that it just blows up the Dazzle, and unfortunately, Tiny dying puts him really far away from his AC, and I think that fight, although it didn't look bad, was a huge mistake, because now they're going to lose their Invoker. Yeah, he wasn't able to blink away in time. Actually, there is no detection, so he is able to blink away in the end. I think they just needed to be a little patient, wait 2 or 3 more minutes till they got their big items. Aegis would have been reclaimed, and they would have been ahead then, I think. They'd have a vision advantage over the TA, and they would have had the AC, attack speed, and armor aura. I think they really need to start going for Vlad's on this Tusk. Aegis will be gone right now, yep. Slark does have Basher, though. And now that Aegis has been reclaimed, it looks like Dota Weebs are going to back off, and I think that's probably the correct play. TA, I'm not sure what the next item's going to be. Tiny just blew someone up in the mid. They need detection of some kind. They're not going to find him. Now Tiny's back a lot closer to his AC, and they do need to be careful about going up high ground against this Slark. He's pretty tough, and going up high ground against a vac wall is also pretty dangerous. Do they have Alacrity to put on this Tiny? Yes, they do, and they're melting this tower, but Fortification is available. They've got Weave, and it's taking up a lot of armor. Unfortunately, the side lanes are pushing pretty bad. Good vac wall, but the EMP draining some heroes of mana, but it's not quite enough. Good disarm. The Darkseer goes down, and Tiny's still up. No heroes lost on the side of Fam yet. Vengeful Spirit just respawned, but this wall position is pretty good and stopping them from saving some of their teammates. Like this poor Tusk just getting beat the crap kicked out of him. And now Venge swaps and goes down again immediately after her respawn. Tiny's pretty happy with how he's sitting pretty good right now, so let's see what happens. And now Slark might be in trouble. The weave on the Tiny, and it's aggressive on the other 2 heroes, so Chain Frost comes out, but is it going to be enough? Tiny blinks away and needs to stay away from this Invoker. Invoker's Ghost Walk's on cooldown for another 20 seconds. I don't know if Tay wants to chase this Tiny. He's pretty big. There's no one else there. Tiny might just try to kill her, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. He's walking right into another TA trap, though, but does blink away in the end. And unfortunately, Tay's blink is off cooldown now, but it doesn't look like he's going to chase. Tiny does just TP back to base, has his AC. They now have Ags on the Night Stalker, which is a pretty big, pretty significant item for them. Now they suddenly have Vision, but now Lich picks up his Ags, and this Chain Frost has been doing so much work, and now they could be in trouble. Slark has something flying out to him. Let's see what it is. Oh, his Silver Edge is now finished? I think that's okay. It'll stop the Craggy. It'll stop the Hunter in the Night. Otherwise, it's not that great. I don't think it's an amazing item for the Slark. I think he could have just either gone Abyssal or like a Butterfly or something.
What surge is this?
Looks like they really just want to go back down mid. They know they have the AC now, and AC plus an Alacrity Tiny means these towers are not long for this world. Roche is up in just a couple minutes, but unfortunately Invoker missing that, but getting the Cold Snap off. Venge getting picked off again, no buyback, and that could be the sign, and Slark needs to be careful. Tiny's a little stuck, he has no blink. But does he want to go in here, or does he just try to leave? He's trying to go in, but he's all alone now, and he has no BKB, so I think this was a really big mistake. His team is really far away from him. They're just going to lose their Tiny. Just a big mistake. Just a huge mistake from Fam, losing their Tiny. He's down for 60 seconds with no buyback, and what are they going to do now? They're at least losing this tier 2, and they could well lose a tier 3.
Radiant's middle tower is not safe.
Trying to pull the creep wave off the good tornado, stopping the creep wave and the Lich, and it looks like they're just gonna get this tier 2 tower. That another creep wave's on the way, so they could go for this T3. They've got frost armor on a lot of their heroes, and this is looking grim. Tiny's down for another 30 seconds, but Tusk is back up soon, so they might be able to defend up high ground. Slark does have his ult ready, and a good vacuum, good deafening blast though. Dazzle goes down, and it looks like this tier 3 tower is not going to last very long. They fortified, trying to buy time for Tiny's respawn.
bottom tower is in turmoil.
Good tornado blast combo. Awesome job. And now there's no mana on the Darkseer, and he's so squishy thanks to this weave, and TA goes down. That was really well played from Fam, able to defend their base without their Tiny, and just maybe a little preemptive going up high ground, up against an Invoker who just has really good high ground defense.
You expected daylight to protect you.
Now Tiny's ready. TA, they have buyback on all their heroes. But we'll see what... They're probably going to force a buyback out of this. There's no Dazzle, though, so this could be kind of risky. Roshan is up in now. Okay. Does he have Alacrity to give to this Tiny? It's going to be a lot of damage on the Tiny coming out.
Dire's middle barracks.
They have no fortifications, so they're losing at least one Rax.
Say goodbye to Dire's middle barracks.
They lost a full lane of Rax in just a matter of seconds, and has the power of Tiny, but unfortunately Tiny goes down, and he does have buyback this time, though. And if they lose the fight here, it'll be a lot harder for them to push down this way. And but it was a little greedy going in with the Dazzle, I think. I think it was probably worth it. They got Rax, so I think it was worth it for Fam. Just the lane of Rax is going to be really advantageous to them, but now they're going for Roshan, and looks like they just missed this ward spot. But do they have another sentry? And I actually don't think it can be contested. Solar Crest on Venge, so this Roche is not going to last very long. And no Tiny, so they can't really contest this Roche. They're just going to have to let it go, and that's really unfortunate. They could have, if they got that Roche themselves, then it could have been a really big turning point. But they do have the Rax. Fam does have the Rax advantage. So because they have the Rax advantage in the mid, it might be okay. Because it actually looks like Dota Weebs are positioning to take the tier 2 bottom. Slark very close to an Abyssal Blade if he wants one.
Radiant's top tower
Darkseer actually doesn't have the mech yet, but oh, that's because Lich has one. I wonder what he's going. Maybe he's going Crimson Guard with the Buckler, or...
Dire's middle tower is in the wrong end of business. Radiant's
Unfortunately, the
bottom
creeps are
tower
pushing
is
into the
under
base here, and Fam might, or Dota Weebs might have to think about that. Yeah, they're going to TP back to defend their tier 4 towers from the creeps. And that's the Rax advantage. What would have been really bad, just basically negated by this, by having that lane of Rax.
Arms for the dead.
Still don't know what TA is going for next. Maybe Manta, maybe Butterfly, maybe Chrysalis, Daedalus. I would actually like to see both of these teams get a gem. Just D-ward, take a vision away from the entire other team. Yeah, and I think the Night Stalker team wants, like, really needs the gem. Especially now. Invoker going for an Octarine core, it looks like. I don't think this is a Bloodstone. It's way too late to get a Bloodstone, it feels like. Invoker needs to be careful. There's a Sentry Ward. This might be a trap. But is his team there to back him up? Slark's gonna go on him, and he blinks away. Catching 3 in the tornado. Ishrad's blocking off a bit of the movement from his team. I don't know if it blocks this pot, but it looks like they actually cannot get through. Oh, yes, they can. So good tornado from the Invoker, but both teams just kind of glancing at each other and backing off. I think... Let's see. Invoker needs 500 more for Octarine. Wait for that. They need a Vlad. I think a Vlad's on this Tusk would really change the pace of the game, and Tiny Amos is BKB. I give this Tusk... Let's see. Vlad's is 2,300. Yeah, Tusk can almost get that, and... Oh, they spotted out the Slark, and he needs to be a little careful, but he just jumps away. Darkseer waiting on the side, and he is going a Crimson Guard. Tiny just getting BKB, and that could be really big in this next fight. Suddenly doesn't care about the Chain Frost, the Magic Missile. He can't get hit by the Solar Crest. He needs to be KB right now or he's dead. Oh, he got bashed. How unfortunate. Oh, but this Tiny has to back off. But a really good defensive snowball. And Night Stalker's actually doing some pretty hefty damage to this Lich. They're devoting a lot of resources for him, but unfortunately, no buyback on the Night Stalker. And TA's Blink is cooling down soon, but so is Tusk, and he should be able to get away home free. Very close game right now. This next fight could determine it. If Fam lose this fight at their tower, they lose 2 lanes of Rex, probably. Unless buybacks are up. Oh, actually, the Invoker just melts that guy and does not hit his Sunstrike, and now Slark might be in trouble. Buybacks available on Invoker, but not on Tiny. So if Fam lose their T... Oh, what's happening? Yeah, they have to rotate to defend their towers here, and they just need... I think Fam need a gem so desperately. But because gem plus Night Stalker, they see Slark coming from a mile away. They deward everything, they kill all the TA traps, and suddenly Dota Weebs are playing in the dark. And if Dota Weebs play in the dark, they're and I don't mean that as like a Night Stalker pun or anything, but it's so bad. Because they're relying on this, they need to have that advantage so that Slark and TA can get some pickoffs. Like, Slark can jump someone off to the side, kill them in the back line, but he can't do that if they have a gem. See, if they had a gem right here, for example, the Aegis reclaims. This game is going pretty late again, but I think that actually favors Fam. With Tiny and the Invoker, they scale much better, in my opinion, than like Slark. Slark does scale well, but I don't know if he's going to be able to man-fight this Tiny. Especially, see, Tiny could get rid of his drums and go... Manta style would be very good on Tiny. Moon Shard would be terrifying. Actually, that should probably be his next item, would be the Moon Shard. Yeah, it looks like Crimson Guard is very nearly complete, but I don't know how effective it's going to be. Tiny's farming pretty well, but I think Slark is now the highest net worth in the game. Yes, but barely. By about 1,000. So it's not a very significant lead. See if they have enough sentry wards to find it, but they don't find it yet. I wonder where they're going to place this next sentry, and will they be able to catch... Unfortunately, no, they can't find that sentry ward, and that provides a lot of valuable information to Fam, who are now smoked up and ready to go. They really want to get some pickoffs and take another lane of racks, because Tiny with the Invoker behind him, yeah, those buildings will disintegrate. An Invoker getting a tornado on the TA, and she could die very quickly here. She gets swapped out to safety by the Venge, but the snowball's on the way, forced to BKB, and now Tusk is going to pay for his life, but Tiny's BKB'd up and not doing nearly enough damage with this pipe, and they need to stop that Lich Ball from bouncing. Unfortunately, the creep bounced it back to him, and oh, a terrible fight for Fam. They just don't have the control for the Slark, and it felt like Tiny didn't do any damage at all to him. With the mech, yeah, the mech plus the buckler, and soon a Crimson Guard, this Slark is just so tanky. Invoker has his Octarine core. I think Tusk got a little ahead of himself, and really good play from Vengeful Spirit. I think if TA had died at the start of that fight, the fight would have gone completely differently. So Vengeful Spirit just setting the game up for her team once again. She played exceptionally well last game and is playing exceptionally well this game. I think Night Stalker going for a BKB, decent item. I think that he could use survivability, but again, I think they absolutely need a gem. I think it's a huge mistake not to get a gem on at least one of their heroes, because it's just, it'll get them map control, and the enemy team, Weebs, play, their lineup relies on having map control and being able to find pickoffs and deny you your side of the map and just take fights wherever they want, just with the Slark engaging anywhere and Venge swaps. But if you deny them all that vision, it becomes so much harder for them to execute their strategy. And if you get the vision, then you can just kill this, try to pick off the Slark, and you know he doesn't just walk away from you because you don't have detection, which is an issue that they've been having. And I mean, Tusk has dust, but I think the gem is more important because he can purge off the dust with his Dark Pact. So I think gem is gonna be is huge for Fam this game, and hopefully they'll be picking one up soon. Dazzles finally got max Graves, so that's going to be pretty useful. And Invokers cannot kill the Slark. He doesn't have an Orchid. I think actually Orchid would be pretty good because he could kill the Slark. But he does actually do some pretty good damage. It's just, I think some positioning errors there, and maybe not conscious enough of the other team. Maybe not really thinking about like, oh, this Venge could swap everyone out. And here's Tiny just destroying the creep wave with the help of the Invoker. And looks like they want to try to take something, but unfortunately they don't have any vision, so Slark could jump on them wherever he wants. And Dota Weebs, I think, just should go to Roshan right away, get it on their Slark or their TA, and then take mid. Just put aggressive wards up here, dive under their tower, and just go very hard on them. But see, TP's available, looks like, on just about everyone this game, except the Lich, and they're going to try to get this, but I don't know if they have the damage. Tiny's not quite there, but maybe they want to leave someone outside the pit this time. They smoked up and are on the way. They've got an Invis Night Stalker who's going to very luckily scout out this smoke. He needs to be careful not to get dusted. Good back wall, but a great tornado catching 4. The Slark, though, BKB'd up, and Tiny's already getting low. And Dazzle, is he going to be able to get the Grave off? No, Dazzle does not get the Grave, and unfortunately this is just complete, total waste for Fam, who are all just going, who's going to lose 3 heroes, maybe 4. Invoker now in danger, and this Roshan basically done for Dota Weebs. They can't contest, and unfortunately it's a free Roshan. Needs to be careful. He might get jumped. He might get jumped on here, but he does have Blink Dagger available. Oh, what's he doing? Oh, they have dust though. He gets dusted, but Blink dodges it. Swap is ready, but Tornado catching 2 again. Slark's on the way, so he's got to be careful. Oh no, Slark's found him. He's gonna try to TP out, but can he? Bashed, and no, he's not gonna be able to get out. So Fam, I think, once again getting ahead of themselves. They just keep trying to do these Roshans knowing that Dota Weebs see them. And not only that, but knowing that they do it very slowly. I don't believe they have a solar card. They do have the medallion, which is good, but they don't have, like, a Vlad's, and up against a Darkseer and a TA, it just feels way too risky to me to go on to this, to try to do that. And I think it's like the 3rd time they've done it, and they've failed to do it each time. I think they need to get at least 1 or 2 pickoffs before they attempt the Roshan. Kill the supports, then you have a lot less to worry about in the form of the cores. Invoker buys back, anticipating the push. Looks like Dota Weebs are just content to bide their time and wander back. Goldcraft's starting to tilt very heavily in favor of Dota Weebs. The XP graph, the same way. They do still have the one lane of racks as an advantage, so that's definitely drawing out the game in favor of Fam. But this Slark is almost too big to fail. His next item could probably he could buy an Abyssal Blade right now and still afford buyback. So I expect him to do that, drop his treads and get the Abyssal, and then it's just going to be so hard to deal with this hero. He's so slippery, he can purge off pretty much all of their control. Unfortunately, there's no IO in this game. I think that would have been great to go with the Tiny, and perhaps they could have done a hero like... There's no point in talking about what they could have picked, but the Tiny just feels like it's going to get kited too much, and he can't deal with the Slark. Still no gem, so they can't see him, but they do have a Moon Shard. Maybe they just try to break the base from inside, and they find Darkseer. If they have to kill this Darkseer and quickly, and this might be their time. No Darkseer for 80 seconds, and they look like they just want to go for the throne, so this could be it, but they've got Chain Frost ready. Slark has the Aegis still, makes the jump on this Night Stalker. But the Slark might have got a little ahead of himself. He leaps onto that guy, pops BKB. Now when he's still got Silver Edge cooling down soon. Do they have detection for him? It doesn't look like it. They plant a Sentry Ward. And he might be in trouble, and TA blinks right into the Avalanche, but here comes the Lich Ball, and a good swap to save... Oh, but unfortunately it doesn't save him in the end. Slark buys back, but this fight still looks pretty bad for Dota Weebs. Good Yules to protect himself, but the Lich Ball is just doing so much work. They need to spread and get this off of them. It's just hitting them so hard. If they kill Slark now, the game could end. That Lich Ball just doing massive amounts of damage. Once the fight recap comes up, I want to see how much exactly it did. The Lich Ball just doing the most damage out of that whole fight for his team.
Radiant's bottom tower has a nasty situation.
Looks like they're sending the Tusk back to defend their lanes. Oh, they TP off. Playing safe, knowing they forced out 2 buybacks, had a really good fight for them. I think the gold graph swing, yep, right back in their favor, but TA now is dataless, and don't know what Dazzle was doing there, but he got killed for it. Another long game. Wonder what Invoker's next item is. He hasn't gotten anything in such a long time, and I think he could really benefit from a Scythe, or even an Blade might be okay. Just protect him from Slark and TA. So he has something on the way. Just a TP scroll. Tiny next could get Manta Styles. Sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, Slark picking up the Abyssal Blade. No buyback available for another 5 minutes. So if Fam is able to find another favorable fight, they could take this game and then tie up the series 1-1. And this is a best of 2. So it's just the group stage, and you get points for your wins, and it determines playoff seeding. So Fam could really use those points, and Dota Weebs could be sitting comfortable with another 2-0 if they win this, if they take this game. But the only buyback in the game is on the Tiny now, so this next fight could easily be the entire game for both sides, depending on where it's taken. If it happens in here, it could go either way, but if either team loses a fight close to their base, it's over, I think, for them. And now Tiny no longer has his buyback. I wonder what he just purchased. Oh, another Moonshard. Oh boy. This Tiny's gonna really start hurting. More so than he was before. I wonder if both teams just want to wait for the next Roshan and don't know quite when he's up yet, but it's going to be some time, probably another 4 minutes or so. Oh, Night Stalker's in trouble. He gets caught out, and No buyback. He BKBs, but now it's a 4v5. Good tornado catching almost the entire team, but they have to back. They don't want to fight without their Night Stalker. Night Stalker just a lot of positional error. I think that was just entirely really poor positioning. They didn't have vision here, and so him being here was extremely risky. So it looks like for the next 40 seconds until this Night Stalker gets back into this game, things are going to slow down. Bo brought no buyback on any heroes yet, and Tiny very far off. Invoker cooling down in about a minute, so he will have buyback soon, but otherwise I don't know how close anyone else is. Dazzle has Guardian Greaves, and Night Stalker disconnects. So.
Experience some technical difficulties.
We're on a quick break while we wait for this Night Stalker to reconnect, so let's hope he comes back soon. Gold is basically even, but I can't quite tell because the pause thing is in the way. But it does look like it is very even, maybe a 2k advantage for Dota Weebs. Let's take a quick peek at the XP graph. Still very heavily in favor of Dota Weebs, about 10k. Yeah, the supports are all very high level, especially this Lich, but he's gotten so many kills thanks to his Chain Frost. He had a very timely Aghanim Scepter, somewhere in the 30-minute range. Slark now going for a Butterfly. Looks like Tiny also disconnected. Looks like Darkseer trying to head for a Refresher Orb, get a double wall. That could be pretty big in these fights. Could make a huge difference with the Tiny illusions just hitting so hard. And it would be so hard for them to even fight into it. Even if they didn't get hit by the vac wall combo, it would be so difficult to fight up against two walls. Like you don't want to run through it, and it's really hard for your supports to position themselves in a way that makes that beneficial, or just makes it easy to deal with. It's like we're going to be paused for a couple minutes here, and hopefully we get back. So Night Stalker is back, but Tiny having some issues still, and hopefully return soon. I guess we can take a quick peek at item progression otherwise. Lich still waiting on some stuff. I don't really know what he's going next. I guess he could try to go for like a Scythe or a Yules might be okay. Save himself, stop the Tiny after Tiny blinks in. Let's see, Venge going in Aether Lens, a really good item here. We saw last game it did a lot of work. Slark going for Butterfly. Dazzle has nothing to go off of, but could probably go for a Force Staff. Tiny could go drop his treads and just get travels, I think, is what he wants. I don't think he should get rid of anything for Manta style. Invoker, Scythe would be really good, but he probably wants to save for buyback. Night Stalker going a heart, maybe a Crimson Guard of their own. Let's see. Here, let's check this. Maybe a lot of Atos. Maybe an Octarine Core, actually. That makes sense. Basically make it nighttime all the time. And then Tusk, I still think needs to start buying pieces to Vlad's. Or drums. Just some aura item to help his team. I think the Vlad's would be huge. 20% of Tiny's damage is a lot. It's like 60. More than 60. Plus the lifesteal. Let's see, Vladimir's offers us lifesteal, 5 additional armor, and attack, and 15. Oh no, it's 15% damage, not 20. So 15% armor, 50% lifesteal, and 5 not armor. Sorry, I'm a little flustered at the length of this game. 15% lifesteal, 15% damage, and 5 armor. This makes Tiny go up to 31 armor, close to 400 damage a hit, and some lifesteal, which he's going to be healing a massive amount off of thanks to his base damage. So I think Vlad's is a critical pickup for Fam. think it will really help them close out this game, and I actually think Dota Weebs need to get one as well. I think the Lich can go for one, and it'll help the Slark a lot. The lifesteal and the damage, he's in the same boat. It just becomes so tanky, and the healing in the fight would make him so sustainable. Lich could go for Guardian Greaves, just buy the recipe, then get the Arcane Boots at the end. Buy it that last at the secret shop. Oof. Casting another game in an hour and a half. Let's see if we can even get out of this one before that starts. What a series, though. Good plays from both teams. Fam putting up an even bigger fight this game than last, and I think executing their draft a lot more successfully. And I think Dota Weebs doing a good job securing their, like the Slark did such a good job early game, making sure that they were able to even get this far, because the TA had such a difficult time in lane. And now if we look at net worth, she's still actually really 5k behind the Invoker, but still doing decently. She's got a 7-second BKB, Slark has a 7-second BKB, Tiny has a 6-second BKB, Night Stalker has a 7-second BKB, and Tiny is back, so maybe we're just ready to jump back into this game, and oh boy. Alright, looks like we're starting up again, and let's see what these teams maybe thought what they want to do. Roshan, we don't know when he's going to be up just yet, but he will be up soon, and the next one could really make a huge game impact. Slark getting pinged out several times. Maybe he was a little AFK, but this Rax that Fam took is huge. It's caused so much pressure on Dota Weebs, like where they could have taken objectives and a Rax of their own, they have to back to defend their tier 4s, and it's just so costly that they lost that. Even though they killed off the Tiny and I think one other hero, maybe the Night Stalker, and they still got that Rax. And if Tiny even is allowed to touch their buildings for, I'm going to say, 3 seconds, they lose a building. Without fortification, that is. Roshana's coming up very soon, and I think the next one could really could really have a big impact on the outcome of this game. I think more so for Fam. I think if Fam get the Aegis, it means that they could actually close out this game and actually take a fight. But if Dota Weebs get this Aegis... Oh, one moment. I apologize. Very tired now, but if Dota Weebs get this Aegis, it means... Actually, they could close out the game with it as well. Let's check buyback status. No buybacks on anyone. Invoker went and bought something. Not quite sure what. Did he... Oh, he's very close to... He can actually complete his Scythe. And I think he should. The TP scroll is fine, but I think he should complete the Scythe. That will be huge in these fights. Just wait till the Slark's BKB times out. Hopefully you don't get taken out before he has that, but... Or during his BKB, hopefully you can survive the fight, but... Then Scythe him up, and just kill him very quickly. Like, just blow your load on him while he's scythed up, or even scything up the Venge if you can get to her would be good, because that's 3 seconds she can't swap. There's any one of these heroes on the side of Dota Weebs could be scythed up and it'd be beneficial. Like, scythe up Lich before he gets his ult and kill him. And I'm really surprised he's not actually... I guess he does want to save for buyback. He's only like 30 gold from buyback, so... See, does he have enough for buyback? Not quite. So Invoker now finally has buyback, and this means he should be able. So that's a sort of an advantage. If he had travels, it'd be a bigger deal, but he doesn't have travels, so he can't really like buy back and take a fight. But if a fight happens like here, he could buy back, run up there very quickly with his phase, invoke 3 Wex, and get going. And I actually think his next item after the Scythe should be an Ags. Get the bonus level of your spells. And Roshan is back. Dota Weebs know that he's there, and they can kill him. He does not stand a chance. Both these teams just biding their time, maybe waiting for their next big item. Tusk close to either Drums or Vlad's if he chooses it, but both teams consciously aware of the fact that this next fight could be the game. Slark does now have buyback available, so this could be really big. He does have travels, so he could buyback and TP into a fight. That's dangerous, and I think that means that Fam really need to take this next Roche, otherwise it could cost them the game. Oh, now Invoker and Tiny. So all the cores have buyback now. Well, not all the cores. The Night Stalker and the Darkster do not have their buybacks yet. But this is pretty interesting. The next Aegis gives a huge advantage to whichever team takes it. Invoker trying to get in, but a good blink dodge, and it looks like Tornado does not purge her refraction. They can't. I don't know. Maybe they want to risk Roshan, but they're right there. Dota Weebs are smoked up and on the way. This is really risky. Both teams just checking each other out, trying to pick the right fight to take the game. Maybe they want to try to go on the Slark, who's sitting on top of 4K gold, and Dazzle now putting a sentry down so they can try to kill this TA trap. Forge Spirit's gonna go, and I bet you sit in the pit and try to scout it out. Oh, yeah, they have the creeps kill that, and interesting. They're having the Forge Spirits kill the However, Tower does die, and there's a huge creep wave up here pushing in against them, so they might be forced back, and I don't think either team is going to be able to go for the Roshan. TA Trap's just sitting in the pit, and just Forge Spirits just going in to kill it. But there's such a big creep wave bot lane, they could lose a tower, and this is a huge Roche standoff, but Invoker's TPing back, and now his team has to bail, and they know that they're going to have to give up this Roshan. There's no way they can contest this Roche. Invoker finishes Scythe, still has buyback available, but the Roche advantage goes to Dota Weebs, and this could have some pretty serious implications for the game. Will they be able to make it in time? This Roche is not as fast as I think they want it to be. To jump in, Tusk, Snowball catching on two, slowing down the back wall so it's not that good. Chain Frost coming out, but do they disperse it? They do. Tiny's getting beat up by this Slark, but he's just so beefy, and now Invoker's rejoined the fight, and Slark's BKB is ended, so he has to ult, but there's a good deafening blast hitting 3, clipping 2! This is really bad for them, but they're just everyone is just so tanky, and just look at this, the Ancient is going down to creeps, and great grave, and now Rombai Cube is down. He has buyback available. He has to buyback to defend his Ancient from his creeps, and Tiny goes down. But look at this. The Ancient is going down to creeps. They have Fortify and they have buyback, but I don't think they notice. The fight is just going on for too long. They fortify. The Ancient is so low. The Slark is really strong right now, and he does get hexed. Deafening blast, and they blink him away. They barely managed to save their Ancient from this massive creep wave sitting in the mid lane, and Slark's on the prowl, but he can't find him. Very close. This game is very close. If Tiny can just find his way to their Ancient, he can kill it in 1 or 2 clubs. This game suddenly got very interesting. The gold advantage basically gone. XP advantage basically gone. Oh, that's gold again. Haha. XP advantage still 10k for Dota Weebs. But the gold advantage doesn't exist. There's still buybacks on the 4 most important heroes in the game. Only 1 lane of Rax has been taken in a 70-minute match. Roshan's still available, and no TA trap this time. They might actually be able to get it. Invoker's going for it. He really wants this. And Dota Weebs may not be in a position to contest. Do they have a smoke? They don't. So it might be too late if Invoker can get his his Forge Spirit's ready now and Alacrity. Does he want to try to take this Roche? He's using them to scout. Now Night Stalker's there, and this Roshan might be the first one that they're able to take, but Slark on his way. He knows something's up. He knows that they must be there. Invoker trying to scout with the Tornado and catching the Slark with it, and now Dota Weebs know that Roche is coming and it's not going to be able to contest, and Roshan is dead, but who takes it? Night Stalker grabbed it, so decent grab, and I don't actually see Tiny being able to grab anything for it. But just the extra life on their team is pretty big, especially considering that he doesn't have buyback. Travel's now done on the Invoker, buyback still available. Check net worth again. Dazzle and Venge sitting happy at the very bottom. Tusk has the cheese. He's going a Heaven's Halberd, it looks like. That's a decent choice. He's saving for buyback though, as is everyone in this game. They know that this is pretty important to have this buyback. This next fight could be it, and Venge losing a fair bit of mana, but now Slark has to back off, and I still really wish that Fam would pick up a gem. Oh, a great back wall, but is it going to be enough? Tiny BKB's popped. He's grazed perhaps a little bit early, and this Lich Ball is just doing so much work. These Chain Frosts have just dominated them, but now Slark is hexed up, and he could be in trouble now. He's disarmed for a little while, and actually the creeps... Oh, never mind. Tiny went and backdoored and took out their Ancient. I apologize for missing that. He just blinked right past the fight, or TP'd in, and smacked the Ancient the 1 or 2 times that it took, and a really long, pretty action-packed, if not a bit dull, okay, interesting, if not a bit dull at times game, and for anyone who actually managed to stay with me, I appreciate it. For those of you who did not, I do not blame you, so I think Fam had... I think the late game advantage was theirs. I mean, this Tiny was just such a nuisance, and the Invoker did so much work. He controlled the pace of the fights for them at the end and bought so much space, and just well played from both teams. I think both teams have exceptional players and made exceptional plays, and I wish I could say more, but I am a little bit drained, and I apologize. I don't feel like I did a particularly good job with this one, but I'm glad for anyone who watched, and I hope you'll join me in about an hour and a half when I'm casting another series. Actually, just about an hour when I'm casting another series, and I'll see you guys next time, and good luck to both of these teams going further. It was split 1-1, and this is the AD2L. Alright, well, that's all for tonight. I'll see you guys in... Okay, not all for tonight, all for an hour. I'll see you in about an hour, so I look forward to this next series. It is 4 Happy Branches versus America's finest Dota player in the Heroic Division. Anyways, I'll catch you guys then, and I'll be uploading the VODs of this. And